Hello everyone and welcome once again to another program of Primetime. I'm your host Beverly. We hear every day that the environment is our future and we must take care of it, to preserve it and protect. My guest today works tirelessly to do just that. To find out more, stay with Primetime and we'll be right back after this short break.
This is Rupert Brown, better known in the community as Major Brown. Because of my service in the police, I've been with Nagico for the past 30-something years. I think it's around 35. And I've always been satisfied with the service I got with them. They have helped many people in this island. As long as I have to keep on insuring them with any company, I will choose Nagico.
Every time I go to Nagico, I get the best service that I needed.
I think it took a little longer to be paid out, but I could understand. They had to bring in the people out from outside. The damage was so great that they needed people from outside to make the assessments, and that took a little longer. But in the end, I was satisfied that I had people in Nagico who you consider friends, and that's why I've remained with Nagico all these years, because of the friendliness of the people in there.
Choose strength. Choose reliability. Choose Nagico Insurances.
Whenever we talk about preservation and nature, we talk about Tadzio, and he is the managing director of the Nature Foundation of St. Martin. Tadzio, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Purposely did not pronounce your second name because you tell us.
Yeah, it's not that easy. It's Bervoets. My father blessed me with a Belgian last name.
Yeah.
But no, Tadzio is fine, and I'm happy to be here. Always a pleasure and an honor to be here, so thank you for having me.
Yeah. And so before we get into the nitty-gritty of things, how was your day today? Because we read in the newspaper about that finding at the Kimsha Beach that the water is
we have some worries about Kimsha Beach. Today was a long day. I mean, it's evening now, and I started at 7 a.m. And I'm still going now. It started with a phone call about a bird that was injured because it got entangled in plastic on Kimsha Beach. So we took care of that, and then afterwards there was an oil spill in the Simpson Bay Lagoon that originated from a land-based source. So instead of the usual spills coming from, it wasn't a ship or a sunken Irma wreck or anything like that. It was actually, the source was on land. So we dealt with that. And then, as you mentioned, we had some worrying results from our water quality testing that we did after Hurricane Irma. We did 7 tests, so 7 sites we tested, and unfortunately 4 of them came back positive for the presence of sewage indicators, and one of those unfortunately is Kimsha Beach. So, understandably, it being a tourism beach now at the moment, some people have quite some concerns about the water quality there. So, yeah, it's been a long day.
Lots of phone calls for that because that was really prominent in the newspaper today.
Yes.
And I'm saying, no, that's the beach I use a lot, but haven't gone in this summer.
No, I mean, usually during the summer months, you sort of see an increase in algae that is related to bad water quality because the temperature of the water heats up. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely a situation that we need to keep an eye on, especially since it's now such a popular beach, also for tourism as we recover from the hurricanes. Right. It is something that we really need to, again, be aware of sort of the linkage between the environment and the economy. So if you have a popular beach now that has questionable water quality that people don't want to go and swim at, they'll have a drop in visitation to all the bars and restaurants that line the area as well. So we're working on it.
I'm curious to ask you, because you're out there doing things in the water. We're reading and they're saying, yes, the water in the Caribbean area is not as cold, it's not as hot as it normally is. I experienced something in Grand Cas just a couple of weeks ago. It's not my mind went in and the water was pretty cold. Are you experiencing that?
Yeah, we are experiencing that actually. Usually when we do our research dives, we did some research dives a couple of weeks ago.
Right.
One of the things that we record is temperature because it's important for us to know what the temperature is out there. And when we compare it to the same time last year it was around 30 degrees and this year it's around 28 degrees.
Yeah.
A 2-degree difference might not seem
it is a lot,
but it's a lot, especially heading into the peak of the hurricane season. We like to see those temperatures be kept down a little bit to kind of suppress the formation of hurricanes. So hopefully, fingers crossed, as we move into the peak, it won't be
It
as
will
bad.
stay quiet.
Yeah, it will stay quiet. Fingers crossed.
Right. Now, not the pun on the word, but what fires are you outing right now?
Well,
You're outing the fire, the dump? Yeah.
That's the main, when we talk about the sort of environmental management and ecosystem management on St. Martin, that is really one of the biggest issues that we are faced with, is the issue at the landfill. The landfill is constantly on fire, even though there's no smoke, there's no huge blaze. It's constantly leaching out harmful toxins into the atmosphere. And we've really been, pushing the issue and keeping it alive in the community so that people don't, become complacent
with it,
with it, because it is really, not only is it an environmental issue, but it's also now a public health issue, and one of the critical things really holding us back from recovering fully after the hurricane. Unfortunately, the landfill should have been tackled decades ago, but hopefully now, as we move forward in the quote-unquote post-Hurricane Irma stage in our development, we can tackle that as soon as possible.
We saw two citizens took the government to court, because I know one of them has been constantly complaining.
Right.
She lives on a hill, so the smoke comes right into her house.
Yeah, no, and rightfully so. I mean, the citizens have a right to hold their government accountable if they see that there is something amiss with the way that, whatever issue affects their public health and affects the environment. So, when we saw that news break, we applauded the initiative, and hopefully, that will also add to a speedy resolution to what is really an environmental and public health crisis in the middle of our capital.
Yeah. The big thing now all over, the non-use of plastic sacks. Now they're tackling the plastic straws and the styrofoam containers. It seems to be a worldwide phenomenon that's going on right now, and we are in St. Martin are getting involved in that. Tell us your take in this area.
Right. I mean, like I mentioned a few minutes ago, this morning we got a phone call from a citizen that was enjoying the beach in the morning, and she said that there was an injured bird on the beach. When we showed up, it was completely, wrapped up in plastic. Its wing was completely broken. It chewed into the wing, basically amputating the wing. So there was nothing that we can do to save the animal, so we had to put it down. And generally, that's a common thread when we discuss the whole plastic issue. Plastic is something that does not biodegrade, so once it enters into the environment, it stays there forever. It breaks down, but it does not disappear, so it breaks down into something called microplastics. These microplastics are ingested by fish, which we in turn ingest as well. The result is, plastic is a petroleum byproduct, basically, so we're eating fuel. We're eating diesel, or we're eating gasoline, basically, is what it is. And there are some serious health effects that are now coming to light about, what can happen to you if you do ingest plastics, especially men. So fellas out there, I mean, there's some research coming out now that there are some hormonal interrupting chemicals that are found in plastic that can cause some serious health issues, reproductive issues in men. So with all those things combined, and also the impact that we have seen during beach cleanups, the amount of plastic, also after the hurricane, we found pieces of plastic that blew out from the landfill, for example, 2 or 3 kilometers out at sea. So, all these factors combined, we have really been pushing for the population itself, in lieu of any government action, the population itself to take the initiative to reduce their plastic output by, not using those single-use plastic bags, for example.
Walk with your own sack. We need to take a break and then we come back on that same vein.
Sure.
Stick around, we'll be back in a moment. You don't want to miss. Tadzio has a lot of pertinent information to share.
Hey ma, how you doing? You busy?
I hear, just paying some bills, taking care of business, you know what it is?
I know, you're doing your online banking.
I don't have to stand in those long lines to pay bills. I can transfer when I want I can check my account wherever. It's like the bank open 24/7. I even here checking the statement right now as we're talking. How's Miami?
Well, that's why I'm calling. I'm finishing up a few songs now, but I'm afraid that studio time might be more than I thought. And I was wondering if I could get some help with some funds, and I could pay you back as soon as I get back to St. Martin.
Let me check my account. How much you need?
I think 500 should be enough.
I can transfer it to you while online. Direct from me to you. No problem.
Great. Thank you so much, Ma. I'll get online with Viv now.
Alright, darling. You know who you're for?
I need to know who you're for.
Contact Wib today for your complete personal online banking experience. Available for all mobile devices. The Wynwood Islands Bank, now your online banking partner in progress.
A cruise is a great adventure. Not only for passengers, also for us. The Port of St. Martin. Our port always reflected the needs and aspirations of the time. From the first to the 1.75 millionth passenger in 2013. Our cruise story started in 1963 with our first cruise passenger. 50 great years later, 20 million passengers later, thousands of cruise berths later, we've become the leading port in the Caribbean. 50 fantastic years. Like a dream. The dream of Port St. Martin lives on and reinvents itself every day. The best is yet to come.
At Travel Planners, we love what we do. Every day we help our clients plan their vacations, from honeymoons to family reunions, trade shows to conventions, school trips to sports tournaments. Our agents at Travel Planners can help you make better, wiser decisions on travel destinations and cruises and find you the lowest fares. Make some memories with help from Travel Planners in Phillipsburg and on the Airport Road, Simpson Bay. Visit our website at Planners SXM and like us on Facebook at St. Martin Travel Planners. We take care of all your travel needs.
I'm speaking to the Managing Director of the Native Foundation of St. Martin, that's Tadzio Bervoets. And wow, he is really giving us an earful of what's happening to our environment. And you were saying, trying to cut down the use of plastics. Right. At least we see some grocery stores are trying now, asking you to work with your reusable bags.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can use reusable bags. That's one of the main things because, during cleanups, during mangrove planting activities or whatever activity that we had, one of the main things that we clean up, there are two things, cigarette butts.
I read something today. That cigarette butts is a big problem too.
Yeah, it's a big problem. Cigarette butts, smokers, they smoke a cigarette and they throw their butt on the ground. Wow. It never disappears. It stays in the environment forever. Birds eat it, end up dying. Mm-hmm. But also these single-use plastic bags, the bird I got injured today also had significant amount of plastic wrapped around it. So we really are asking people to use reusable plastic bags. When you go and have a drink at a bar or a restaurant, refuse a straw. If you absolutely do need to or feel the need to use a straw, there are options out there such as biodegradable straws, which are simple paper straws that are everywhere.
I've had one, and if it stayed in my drink too long, then the straw got clogged up. So and then I have to end up taking it out and just using it. Yeah, I have to drink fast. Right, there's no sipping with the paper straws.
No,
yeah.
but you're right, the paper straws, after a while, they do get soggy and you have to reuse it. What I use bamboo straws, so I ordered a pack of bamboo straws off of Amazon that I use. You can reuse them. They
so
come
you walk with it?
Brush. Yeah, I walk with it in my truck. We also have stainless steel straws that we also ask people to use. So there are different options out there.
So we've kind of just started to evolve with this. So we're going to see new versions coming out. Yes.
And it's like you said, it's a global phenomenon. All around the world, people are realizing the negative impacts plastics are having on the environment. We support the move by Parliament, by the President of Parliament, to call for a plastic ban legislation. But of course, as our colleagues in the SHTA also mentioned, we'd like to see it further, including styrofoam, because styrofoam is also pretty bad.
Yes.
And other use of, other single-use plastics. There are enough examples in the region about, of countries that are taking the step. Aruba did it a couple of years ago. Dominica is now entering into legislation. St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Trinidad and Tobago is also taking a step. So there are, there are enough examples around us to use to kind of, reduce our plastic.
Trinidad public was giving them some pushback.
Yeah, they were giving them some pushback.
They were giving them some pushback with that.
But it's a process. I mean, it's not something that's going to happen 1, 2, 3. I mean, there's also some education that's going to be involved in that.
Right.
So that's one of the things that we also do, is educating the public, making the people aware as to why these things are an issue. So, hopefully, with all these things combined, we can move towards a, quote unquote, greener future.
You think our general public is ready for change? Because, change is always difficult and slow.
Change is difficult and slow. I think slowly the population is getting to be more aware.
Yes.
Also, because of the work that we do, we are very involved in the media, also in social media. Our sister organization, EPIC, also does quite good work and also spreads awareness. It's also very important. So I think slowly but surely, especially starting with the younger generation, because eventually they will be the ones to inform their parents and take the country to where it should be. We are starting to see a slow change. I mean, if you compare it to 8 years ago when I just started at the Nature Foundation, it's definitely noticeable change.
Big step. What's the condition and the state of our mangroves after the hurricane?
After the hurricane, the mangroves are not doing as good as we would like to see them do. Especially in the Simpson Bay Lagoon. We think that's related to the water quality issues that we've been having in the Simpson Bay Lagoon. So. There are still more than 100 boats that are resting on the bottom of the lagoon, and these boats have all leaked wastewater, battery acid, fuel. All of that has entered into the environment. So because of that, mangroves are less resilient to be able to bounce back from such a heavy event as Hurricane Irma was. But we're giving them a helping hand. We have about 250 mangroves now that we have in our nursery. We're waiting for them to get mature enough so that we can outplant them. And then after they've reached that stage, we will do a reforestation program in some of the areas.
Is there anything that you all could do with all those wrecks at the bottom of the ocean?
That is a big ongoing issue. I mean, the problem is with wrecks, they fall into kind of two categories. One is steel wrecks and the other ones are fiberglass wrecks. Fiberglass wrecks are not really suitable for sinking as a dive site or as an artificial reef. The steel wrecks are, so we're working now with the Ministry of Economic Affairs, TEAT, to sink a few wrecks as dive sites, as artificial reefs, but only the metal ones. But the big fiberglass ones, we're still working together with government and the World Bank to come up with a solid solution.
Because you need some money to get those.
Yeah, you need to remove them. You need to figure out what we're going to do because they can't go to the landfill because they're hazardous material. So, we're weighing our options, ship them off. Maybe to the Dominican Republic. Some people have been seeing where there's a company that can buy them. So, at the moment we're weighing all of our options as to how to tackle the issue. But it is something that has to be done quite quickly, especially as we move into the peak of the hurricane season.
Now, what's you already mentioned what today was like, but what's your normal day like? Apart from today, are you going from one end of the spectrum to the other?
It usually, I mean, there are days when I wake up in the morning, I have a meeting, I have to put on a business suit. That meeting is finished, I go to the office and I change into my wetsuit with my dive gear and I have to do research on the water. So, I mean, it's, it can be busy, it can be stressful, but at the same time, I have enough variation in my job to keep it interesting for sure.
Has it been crazy since the hurricane?
It has been
more
crazy,
work?
non-stop, since the hurricane.
I
wouldn't say really more work. The work has been different. Now, kind of the post-hurricane response that we have been doing has kind of abated. Right after the hurricane, up until January, February, we were busy cleaning beaches, cleaning the wetlands, cleaning mangroves, relaunching our coral nursery, doing our research projects again. So it has been crazy in that sense. But yeah, I mean, we're used to a very hectic schedule. So
I'm sure you wouldn't imagine this 8 years ago. Yeah, we'll take a break and then we'll come back. We'll continue as to what the Nature Foundation has in store for St. Martin as you move forward. Don't forget you can look at this program and all programs on Facebook and on YouTube. And don't forget to subscribe. We'll be back in a moment.
GEBE has been faithfully serving the communities of St. Martin, powering your home and our economy. Come rain or shine, our qualified team of professionals are working hard 24 hours a day to provide you and your family with safe, reliable electricity and water. We use the latest technologies and test our products daily to maintain the highest international standards. Our friendly staff is always there to assist you, whether in person, over the phone, or online. We are committed to constantly improving our products and services, making them more efficient, effective, and environmentally friendly to serve you better today and our next generation of clients tomorrow. GEBE, powering a brighter future.
Our friend Megawati is here with tips to save you energy. 1. Turn your airco temperature up. 2. Use a ceiling fan instead. 3. Buy energy-saving products. Save some green with NVGEBE.
Now, Tadzio, this got some grass. I remember being here in St. Martin 30-something years ago, and we never were faced with that, a little seaweed here and there. But what is this?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the big issues that we're facing with, and it's not only St. Martin, it's a regional issue actually, it's not a regional issue alone, it's an Atlantic Basin-wide issue, because I have colleagues in Sierra Leone on the west coast of Africa
and they're experiencing that also?
Experiencing it, yeah.
What is that?
So the sargassum seaweed, it's again one of these issues that is related to climate change and human-based influences. What happens is the big rivers that empty out into the Atlantic, the Mississippi, the Amazon, the Congo River, because of the agriculture, there's a lot of nutrients that get emptied out into the sea. That combined together with an increased water temperature because of increasing sea surface temperatures due to climate change has caused this sargassum to bloom. Because of this bloom and because of the currents, a lot of that sargassum is ending up on our shores. And the situation, especially the last few weeks, has been quite bad.
Yes.
And especially, Guana Bay, Back Bay, Point Blanche, Dawn Beach, those areas that are facing the Atlantic Ocean. They've been, people have been complaining about
the smell.
Yeah, the smell, eye irritation, trouble breathing. People's fixtures in their bathroom are turning green because of the oxidization due to the gases that's released by the decomposing seaweed. We are, a lot of the seaweed.
How are you tackling this then?
Well, it's very difficult to tackle. We heard the complaints from the communities that are being affected by it, so we urge government to do cleanup. That cleanup was executed. We were very grateful for that.
So the backhoe and so on out there.
Yeah, the backhoe cleans it up.
That's so much it was.
Yeah, but as the backhoe cleans it up, you see
the next day it's back again.
It's there back again. So it's an ongoing process. We are talking to a few companies out there that want to start up a collection program. But that, those discussions are still in its infancy. They need to look for funding because, we can't fund them. So I'm going to the Netherlands at the end of September. So I'm going to have some discussions with some companies that might be able to collect and then use it as fertilizer or whatever.
Wow, like that.
But at the moment, it's there are places in Martinique that had to close schools and evacuate communities because it was so bad. Wow. So unfortunately, it's one of those new normals that we're going to be faced with here in the Caribbean.
It seems so. We talk a lot about the environment. People are more aware of taking care of nature, taking care of the environment. But do you think our powers that be understand the need to be environmentally friendly?
I mean, it is a process again. It fluctuates. I mean, one of the issues that St. Martin has been faced with is political stability. You start a lobby process with a certain type of government. You think you're getting far, and then you wake up in the morning.
He's not there anymore. She's not there anymore.
Exactly, that government is not there anymore. So, because of that political instability, it has also caused us to have a stumbling block when it comes to really pushing the importance of conservation, how important it is to the economy, how important it is to St. Martin as a tourism product. I mean, that's why people come here, because of our nature. So slowly but surely, especially after the hurricane, it seems, but it's an ebb and flow type thing. Sometimes with a certain issue, government, the powers that be pick up on it quite quickly, and on other ones, it's like pulling teeth. So it depends.
How challenging is funding?
Funding has always been a challenge. Luckily, our current minister, Minister Gitterson, we signed a service level agreement with the Vromi Ministry, which is a continuation of a previous service level agreement that we had. So based on that service level agreement, we do management of the marine park, we manage endangered species, etc., etc. And based on that, we do get a subsidy. Well, based on that service level agreement, there are financial stipulations included. So we do get a 200,000 guilders subsidy every year. 200,000 guilders is not a lot.
Then you divide that down into dollars.
If you divide that down, it's around $100,000, and we have to pay for our fuel for the boats. We have to pay salaries.
You have how many people working with you?
We have 4 people. So me and 3 of my colleagues. We have to pay rent on the workshop and the boat lift, so it does add up. So funding is a challenge. I mean, there were times in my 8 years at the Nature Foundation that I've gone months without having a salary while I still worked. But we do this work because we love our country, we love our island, and we think that the work that we do is important. So while we still got to eat, we still we still realize the important work that we're doing. The initiative, be involved, become aware, hold your politicians accountable, and
Are you shocked when you do beach cleanup?
I am shocked when we do beach cleanup, and we actually have one coming up on Saturday that I would like to invite you and all your viewers to attend.
Thank you so much, Tadzio.
Thank you.
You're doing a great job.
I appreciate that.
To preserve the nature of our island, and keep up the good work. And hopefully we will get our whole entire community to be nature aware.
Yes, hopefully.
Thank you so much for joining us. This is Prime Time. I'll see you next week, and may God bless you.